All right. Thank you for coming. As you know, I'm sure now we've combined, if you've seen my emails, and I know we've got people from group 2 here today, we're going to be combining both groups into one group. That'll just be a one single 9:30 class. It just is better too, because we have a lot of fire. We go through all our info. Come on in. And we want to just make sure that we teach one good solid class rather than having to repeat it again for group B, which it's never as good as the first time. So thank you guys all for coming. I'm just gonna talk a little bit until Jeff gets here. He should be here shortly, hopefully.
Oh, that's Dawn.
What?
We call that stuff.
Yeah, so anyway, he did tell me that we're gonna be talking about what we kind of talked about in the last class, which was 2 weeks ago, which was heavily focused on photos and listings and what photos to pick, which photos not to pick, and how they can make a huge difference. And it's funny, any of you know, when you're going through listings, you always see an agent that has over 100 photos on their listing. And even my last team, that's what we did. And you just kind of have a feeling that showing more of the home is better and letting them get a full feel of the house is the way to go. And we just found that that's not the way. And that actually hurts your traffic a little bit because you want to entice people to come out to see it in person. So has anybody been watching Jeff and Phil's listing on 25th at all? Yeah, so that one, we actually just took it off the market because the feedback was that the layout is not the best. It's mostly it's a closed floor plan if any of you guys have been there. So we took it off the market with intention of knocking down the center wall and opening up the floor plan, as well as installing new appliances there. And unless Erin has an offer for us, which she I know is working with a buyer who is possibly going to write one for us. Anyway, that one had some photos. So we'll be looking at, I'm sure, some examples that Jeff has today. Let me share my screen.
What about getting rid of the drop down ceiling in the kitchen?
I don't know if that's possible. You mean raising the ceiling a bit?
You don't need to raise the ceiling. It's just that box that drops down from the main ceiling.
Yeah.
So it's a square around the outside.
There may be, I don't know if
That
that's
really
attic
opens up.
space. It's that, I don't know. I'm sure they would look into that. I just don't know if that's possible. Otherwise, they probably, I mean, it may be also too expensive, but it's truly, I mean, let me pull up, because I was talking to them about.
There's also no photo of the living space, and I feel like I have some buyers that won't go look at a house if they're like, obviously the minimal photos get you out there, but I feel like even when I'm picking stuff for buyers, if I can't see like, oh, there needs to be one, or there needs to be 2 living spaces, there isn't. Okay, there's enough listings now that we move on.
Yeah, see, that's good feedback.
But I mentioned it to Phil, and he's like, it's closed off, and that's why we didn't include them.
Yeah,
so it makes sense. I get why you didn't do it.
It can be a total debate of, is it better to, if it's a good feature of the house, should you still hide it to entice people to come see it because they feel like they haven't seen the whole house? Or should you show all the good features and only hide it if it's a bad feature? That's a debate that will continuously go on. Everyone has their opinion. All good. Anyway, yeah, Cody, we were just talking about that. We'll kind of recap last class because there weren't too many people here, and just kind of see if anyone's made any changes about photo selection for listings, which are good photos, which are bad photos. So we were talking about 25th a little bit. It is now canceled. It should show here.
I gotta brighten it up, and you can maybe do like an overlay around it.
So Kevin, you were talking about.
Let's go for yours.
Oh, hey, there we go. So we're gonna review last week's homework to see who listened to class, right? Are we ready? This is gonna kick ass, okay? Because this is how we grow. This is how we grow. So I'll try and grade out some levels. Hold on.
Yeah, get some energy, would you?
Sometimes it's just so beautiful. It's so good. It's so good. All right. So last week, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go to the personal side first to help all of you get the most out of this class. Okay. Meaning I have 2 children that are 20 and 22, okay? And the hardest thing for them is understanding the value of going all in. Right, like people don't learn that as kids of commit harder when you know it's the right thing. Right, commit harder. And then the hard thing is then you need to seek out things that will improve what you currently doing that you need to get better at. So that then you can accept the change and improve on those things and then move forward. But it's really, unfortunately, all in means you have to go harder, right? Like, I'm not gonna talk about it here, but in Tuesday meeting, I said that you need to go home and call people for 10 people. Like, that is what you need to do in this marketplace. If you want to sell 50 to 100 houses next year, you have to talk to more people that you know every single day. Are you doing it? I'm not gonna ask you that until Tuesday, but realize that we're gonna have to push through walls. We're gonna have to, and the way I think of it is literally run through walls, meaning that when you get an objection, you can't stop yourself. Whether you're telling yourself you can't do it, or you're giving excuses why you can't do it. Either way, there's no excuse to things in front of you in real estate because you can do them all. It's just your choice of whether you think it's important or not. And I'm just trying to lean on you here. So last week, we went through a class, and the class was about what? Who was here? Cody? But what about the photos? It was one about listing photos. What about the photos?
Need to highlight the highlights of the house.
Right, okay, so in listings, when you list a house, the reason why I want everybody to know that they are in charge of the marketing of the house. Okay, when you sign a listing agreement and your name is, it's Kevin Isaacs, it's Mauricio, it's Steve Penner, it's Clay Bridgewater, right, it's Eileen McKenna, Brandon, right, like, when your job is to promote the house. And this is what other agents really stink at. But part of it, where I was at, is last week's class was mostly about, it was a price reduction class. Okay. And that, and it was trying to teach you jab, you ready? You feel better now?
Yeah.
Right, jab, right hook, right, Gary B, right? Are we executing that with sellers when we need a price reduction? I mean, in the second half of the class today, I'm going to teach you a strategy to win more because there's just not as many listings out there, right? Meaning we're listing about a half of what we would normally list. Therefore, when you come across an opportunity, you're going to have to be aggressive on commission, but it just also means that because if this market goes up, we're going to have low supply again. It's going to go back in fuego because we only have listings are dropping because no one's listing their house. That's why we're getting a confusing report from the Crawford report because they're like, the market's great. And I'm like, we're going to sell 4,000 houses. Doesn't volume matter? You're saying, so if we have 1,000 homes on the market and we sell 500, you're going to say the market's great, Mr. Orr.
Right.
Is the market great if we sold 1,000 houses in Maricopa County? Not by any of the participants of the
Perspective.
but well, I said, well, we're only going to sell 65,000 homes. Your reports that when you look at the Cropper report, it's going through the ceiling up. I mean, we're seeing multiple offers. We're seeing things like so it's hard to interpret that. And I'm just trying to help you stay on what is the best message. And the most important thing is we're going to get a lot more traffic. If we win, if you get out and try and win listings at the lowest thing, you're going to have lots of traffic, meaning lots of buyers. You're going to look better because it's going to be your name on the sign. Like this is the time where we need listings because of the amount of interest, because there's not enough supply, meaning that those that have the listings, their business is going to triple. And those that don't get the listings, their business is going to decline because you're not getting that free marketing. We got a listing call last night, right? Went to Shauna Bookman. Right? Like that's gonna increase more, because now they can find out who it is. They call the listing agent, and then 1 out of 100 on a listing call, do they want to buy that house? Maybe 1 out of 200. I don't know. It's usually just the first house that they liked ever, and they're not ready. So they're gonna buy something else. But back to last week. Sorry for the regression. It's all important. The way we get price reductions is we have to communicate. Can you all see that online? Communicate to the seller 10 times more early. Okay? What does that mean? That is the jab, the jab, the jab. Okay? Why I'm talking about this being a price reduction class is, unfortunately, as far as the timeline goes, we have coming soon. And then we go active on the market. Right? This is first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day, eighth day, ninth day, right? 10 days. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, just kidding. All right, but meaning that when you go coming soon, if this is the first day that you've talked to the seller, you're behind. And you didn't even know it.
They're
I'm
just
here to
giving a
help.
lot of positive experiences. Oh, this is good. We got a showing. But then you kind of hit them like, oh, hey, it's not working out.
Exactly, right? So the goal of you is to set expectations with the seller first, which is what they want to hear, right? Oh my God, like we're so excited. Like I'm excited. The market's up, like we're gonna kill it, right? So, but here's the deal, right? As soon as we go coming soon, we're going to be paying attention to you. I'm going to call you the first day and I'm going to talk to you. That's what you're supposed to be doing, is you're supposed to be communicating, right, to the seller during coming soon, play by play. Okay. Right. Like when we watch sports, it's an easy way to talk about it is because the reason there is a sports polar analyst, John Madden, was because he coached in the NFL, played in the NFL. He was an NFL expert because he interpreted what he saw to you as the novice, non-football professional. Okay. Football is the most popular sport. It could be soccer, it could be whatever, it's always an expert. That's you in this case. You're the expert that's supposed to be communicating to that seller, right? Because what happens when we list it on coming soon, where do we see the game being played? Let's go with Alex. When you list a house, where is the first sign that you see something happening for a seller? All right, he went off. Elise Faye.
All right, sorry, can you repeat that? What is the first sign that I see?
What is the first sign of anything? When you list a new house coming soon, and great, because you've listed the most of the people on the call that I can see. What is the first thing that you see, whether from Adam, from your own, from the internet? What is the first thing that you see?
I'm gonna go with views.
Okay, or sometimes an agent calls you. You ever list a
Yes.
house, Mauricio? Like
Agent showings.
okay, or just even a reach out. But do you then call the seller and say, hey, because ideally what you should have said is, if we're gonna get top price, when we list it, I'm expecting 10 to 15 agent reach outs or showings or saves. However you want to play that game. What I'm saying is you're setting up because you're like, I expect 25 saves before we go on the market, and I'm expecting, let's make it real, I'm expecting 3 to 5 reach outs. Jab, we're still a jab. Right? So now, what was the house we listed yesterday?
House we listed yesterday.
Or the day before, recently?
Oh, what is one that?
Pull it up and show everybody. online show up the Zillow.
Oh, the expensive one, okay, yeah.
Whatever it is, whenever you have a listing, you're supposed to call the seller and say, good news, first day. I was hoping to have 3 to 5 realtor reach outs. I just got my first one. I'm so excited. See, now your first communication to them is positive. That's called a jab. Is anyone out there doing that now? You tried to, but to just know that you need to do it every time. What's the address? Sorry, I'm getting loud again. Holy fuck, I get excited.
That's the last listing. that
Which one?
is sold coming soon, Michelle.
Okay, let's go to that Zillow listing. When did it go?
It went on the market last week, sold mid last week, though. It went on the market. It's sold.
Okay, you see, obviously, if it's sold pre-market, that's why you need to be watching pre-market, and that is this is your list. First, agent calls. 2, and then those calls are questions or showing. Right, like, but the idea is that you should talk about these details when you list the house. Show us the report. Okay, see that? 2 saves. So we only need 2 saves to get an offer. I'm expecting 4 to 10 saves. If we're gonna sell it for top dollar, did it sell over asking price or asking price?
This is a tough one to do that on because this sold before it hit Zillow.
No, this is exactly my point, is if you're supposed to be talking to them, this is called the jab. Before the market, because you're gonna call them every day and talk to them about agent showings, Zillow views, right? And then you're gonna talk to them about where else do we see people hitting it? On Realtor.com?
MLS
Great,
numbers.
MLS numbers. .com numbers, you're gonna be telling the seller right away, okay, it's a little bit better than I expected. It's a less, there's no negative. The point is that there's no negative communication until, like, all of your positive communication is but then you're like, oh fuck. You gotta call them on day 10 and you're like, shoot. What I realized, I got so caught up in all the emotion that we haven't received an offer yet. Remember how I told you when I got there, if we got to day 10 and we didn't have an offer, we would be overpriced. The best houses sell when?
Right in the beginning.
Be here, but when you can be positive about traffic is coming soon. Oh my God, we're blowing it out the door. Remember I told you blowing out the door, it should have led to 10 showings in the first 10 days. But if you're talking them, all right, we had a showing today, you know what? Fuck, son of a bitch, nobody called today. I can't believe it. Our Zillow hits is 543 and we have 43 saved. Don't worry. We'll get them tomorrow. But now every day you're talking to that seller here, reporting the stuff. If it's called a lot of work, you're going to get 10 reviews for it. You don't get it. This is where the turn of the market comes, right? Is you need to get better at your job, because then what happens when a price reduction? Because now, Mr. Dial, thank you for participating. If I was nice to the seller 5 days in a row, like now coming soon, a total of 10 days before we get to day 5. And now, because I knew I was going to ask for a price reduction, because I told them up front, after I've been positive, is it a little bit easier?
Yeah, because everyone likes to hear good news and they trust you more at that point.
The problem is you wait until day 7 to talk to them. Oh, they're gonna fucking hate me. Oh, it's not selling. They're gonna be mad. Jeff just told me I need to get a price reduction day 7, and you're nervous because you did nothing. I'm not pointing a finger at any of you. You're all beautiful. You're all wonderful people. There's nothing personal here, but we wonder why we can't get a price reduction and why it says set expectation. Not just, it needs to be not set expectations before market. And then the next thing is communicate to them about the instant, the example I gave last week where, because we didn't even get to talk about that yet. what Cody said it was about. So was it about photos or was it about something else?
Well, the choice of photos.
Yeah, it wasn't about that. That's what he took. That's okay. That's why I'm repeating it. See, he was the only one that came last week with Jeff Dial, and there was another two people. We're repeating this is because this is the ball game. I know you don't think it's important because you're not doing it now. I'm assuming, is anyone doing this level of communication before day 5? And you get the most price reductions. It's why because the key is making that you have positive, 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 jab, 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 jab. Now I get to, ooh, man, yeah. We got lots of questions. Go
I
ahead.
understand like the positive, 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 but then on day 7, when you're asking for the price reduction, isn't it kind of a switch up? Like, wait, you've been so positive. Why are you not maybe alluding like, oh, traffic's not as good as we wanted today. We'll keep watching it. Kind of starting to set.
No, you gotta, it's still positive. Well, see how the way you said it, it was not positive, and the way I'm gonna say it, sweet, 114 today. 114 more. What's wrong with being positive like that? Why did I have to say like, oh, wow, I started to add up the numbers now on day 5 and whew, we're short of expectations. Right, like, you're not telling them, like, you want to be positive. Like, you don't know that did Alex know that house was gonna sell pre-market? Right, you don't know that what the traffic's going to be. But you have to set the expectation, because right now houses are selling if they're priced right. Like the house I listed was not priced right for the condition. I am changing the condition. I thought I could list the house I listed on 106.25. I listed at 760. I did not fix the floor plan. I did not change the stainless steel appliances. I did not change it to electric.
Yes.
Gas. I did not change it to gas, and it could. Just to try and show you guys, it did not sell. We are now gonna take out the wall. We're gonna put in LVT, and I think we're gonna sell it for 40, 50,000 more. This is to show you, because this is what's happening in neighborhoods, and why I'm gonna buy a construction company, is the unupgraded houses are not selling as much as the ones that are acceptable in the marketplace. So
Cody, can I add something to answer your question about that, which is a great question? And he dropped a little kernel of it earlier, is when you're giving them the calls and you're, hey, we had 3 showings today, 2 realtor calls. You can, at the end of that, you don't want to do it every time, but at the end of it, drop in. We got 3 calls today. Hey, if we don't continue to see this, we may need to look at price next week. Little kernels like that lets them know, okay, if this doesn't happen, we're going to talk about it next week. So that when it does happen, they're like, that's exactly what he said. And that helps that.
we have to change the way we talk. Just like I'm changing the way I talk.
So question. So during the coming soon stage, when you're testing the higher price, how do you during coming soon, if you're not getting any showings during the coming soon, you set an expectations listing point. Hey, we didn't get any showings. I'm not having any agents interested. So we may want to lower the price right when we're going on the market at
Great
the
question,
end of the
Jeff.
coming soon, if you're doing it for 30 days.
So what's the question?
So I guess you're trying to give them positives during the coming soon or talking about it. But when you change the price, do you change it?
I'm
the
gonna
day
answer
before
the
it?
question because I know what he's trying to allude to, and then just, I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm gonna answer it, but not exactly.
Yeah,
the
I'm
way
not
you
giving a
think.
good question, so I
Okay,
agree.
we're good. All right. The reason is because we are unprepared to provide expectations. So we're not setting it for, meaning essentially, we're gonna have to create a scorecard. So that you know before you list, what is the showings I expect, right? This is views on, and then you have Zillow, MLS, Realtor, whatever our 3 views scorecard is. Meaning for that listing, you're not gonna share the scorecard, but I want you to know what you're gonna tell them before they list of when I list it. Because right now, if I list it, in this marketplace, if it's gonna sell for over asking price, 95% of the time, we're gonna get an offer during coming soon. Because all the ones that are selling for over ask, not at asking price, meaning, so day one, my expectation is that I will be, if we're priced accurately, and the question is, are you giving that now? I don't think you are, but you're gonna tell them, okay, we're going live tomorrow. If we're priced right, I expect an offer. Because we just sold one down the street and we were priced right and we got an offer. You with me? Okay, oh my God, but then you're just calling, you've already set the expectation, but then you're not gonna really address that. And they're like, when they're like, well, you said we get an offer. I said, if we were priced right. But I'm not yet ready to give up on the price because I'm gonna give it a few days, but obviously it shows us that we might be priced a little high. Because we didn't get the offer, that would be to have multiple offers. Hopefully we can get a full price offer. I'm not like, because we can still get a full price offer as long as we get offers in the first 7 days. That it's just that, and then the way you explained it is, well, 98% of the time, if it's going to sell full price, I mean, don't get me wrong, we can sell it at full price after we drop it 100,000. That's what a lot of people do. Is they you know how it's like the stock market. It's like a company, Rivian, can say we're going to produce 20,000 cars. And then they can adjust it. And then when they produce 7,000 cars, they said we met expectations. But they were expected to produce 20,000 cars and they were 2/3 short to get them. They're telling the world that that was good. And I'm like, that's not good. Because if you tell the person that they're going to get 700 and they're going to get 600, they're going to be pissed in our world. Is it not? If somebody gets 100, yeah, you guys get it.
And our listings in 2022 that sold at full price sold in 5 days on average. So you still have those first 5 days.
Right, write that down. If we're gonna set, like, for us, for the average days on market, but that's an expectation. When you're delivering this, on average, full price offers sell in 5 days. That means I'm expecting an offer, but you're raising the alertness. Your customer's gonna be just happy because they're hearing from you, because you're calling them and talking to them about the traffic, but you're not being specific. And because you didn't set it before, it's hard to go back and then reset it when you're not specific, and now you're asking for a price range. Is I'm trying to give you numbers to set. I want you to this is why I communicate a number. If you ever wonder why I do numbers, is because then when I put the number lower, instead of the word higher or lower, it's why it makes you look like a non-expert. When you use averages, you look like you're hedging, because you're like, it's gonna go down a little. What is a little? 3 to 15%? Right? Because if my income drops by 15%, do I think it's a disaster? No, it's not. You can still pay your bills. You just can't go to Starbucks. You can't eat out, but you can still pay all your bills with 15%. That's not a disaster. Okay, a disaster is when your income goes down by 40%. You with me? Okay,
And
back to Jeff Dial. Hold on, we're not done with Jeff. So I'm expecting 3 realtor calls for showings, and I'm expecting 1 to 2 reach outs for this $600,000 house during coming soon, because then you're gonna call them and say, all right, you're the play-by-play analyst. Dude, play-by-play analysts sound like they're beating up the basketball game, the football game, or the soccer game when it's boring. No, they talk positively no matter what. Aikman and all those guys on Monday Night Football, you know, sometimes when it's a 3 to 4, 6 game, you're like, this game sucks. But they're just talking, you're just talking about the stats. Yes.
So even if I have a coming soon listing that got 0 showings, zero views, 0 people reaching out, that could be used as negative. But you can flip that into a good script to tell your seller. You call them, say, I would have loved for it to sell at 800, but I'm just happy we figured out that we're overpriced before we go ahead. That's good. The fact that we got 0 showings while coming soon is good, because that tells us we're overpriced before we waste our.
Right. The good thing is right now you can change price by 20,000 and it disappears, because if you lower it from coming soon to active, that number goes away like magically.
I'm happy this happened
Right.
while coming soon.
But remember I told you coming soon was our testing period. We tested it. This number's too high. We're still great. We're awesome. We're just not gonna get that number. And I didn't tell you we were gonna get that number, did I? I just told you that if we were gonna get that number, we would have a little of this activity and it didn't happen. The good thing is, hey, it's 800,000, still thinking we could sell your house for 796. Are they mad? No, right? Because you told them it was gonna sell for 760. This is why setting expectations combined with traffic communicated frequently and more often using graphs and charts, not voice. Because now you can go look at, I said to it, because what's gonna show, what you're gonna show is the act, you go to a different listing for that we listed in the last week, looking at Zillow numbers.
Sold or not sold?
Right there, so there you go, good, pull that up. To see what you guys are not leveraging enough in your sales careers is the game's played right here. And that's when the most amount of, right, like the better you set expectations, the higher percent of houses you will sell. Right, it's why, in 2021, I sold 99% of the houses I listed. Decent, was reasonable. 72 sold 72% of their houses. So it should be 72% of the houses, not 72 sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, no, but the reality is in the same marketplace, because they were lying to people. But you get more business and more reviews when you're honest with people. That's why we sold the company. More questions. So back to the report, Jeff, is that I think if we create a report for ourselves before it's listed, and if you don't know, you call Adam or you call me, because what we got to build, because I think if we get this, now all of that, like, okay, we got one realtor reach out. Okay, now because it's not negative. It's that price is too high.
Happy we found that out.
I'm happy, my goal is for you to get the highest price ever. And I know after this day, the reason why you're setting that expectation even earlier is people think that the longer it's listed, it goes, they get the price. And what they don't realize is obviously, if you listed a house in January of 22 at 10% over price, 90 days later, they could sell it for full price. And they say they got top dollar, but actually the market appreciated to their price. That's all that happens. The longer is if the market's appreciating 5%, eventually it becomes a deal because once it's out on the market, it's static. It no longer goes up in value because it would be bought. Jeff, did that answer your question?
No, so because the question is what your expectations are when you get in the luxury above 1.5 million.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying here, is that you're asking, I don't know this. Let's look at Sharon's listing. This is $1.8 million. Can you pull up the report? We can't see it anymore. She had 7 days on Zillow. We got 1,800 views.
Well, we
Okay,
talked about being coming soon for 30 days. That's a long time to be coming soon. isn't it?
right, which, how many?
I've been misheard, but I thought, no, Jeff was saying, Jeff Dial.
I didn't hear that.
Right, but Jeff, we have to be experts in knowing how many days and coming soon, right? This is the key to winning listings. They will trust you more, right? So also when you go to the listing, I'm the best communicator in the world is what you're going to tell the seller. Why you want to list with me is you don't understand. We're 56th in the country. We've been tech people for 20 years. We have a significant advantage. This process here is a homegrown process that because we can read the internet and the activity to get you highest price. That's because I canceled a listing, my phone keeps ringing, okay? We'll talk about that in Tuesday, how you feel when you, like, it started ringing at 7:40. When people go on the internet and fill out a form, this is what happens, and you wonder why. I'll tell you why, because now I've already talked to 7 realtors. The next one, I'm good. They're saying they're good because they're tired of talking to people, and you think they're mad at you, and I don't know, you were just late.
They're not doing their research.
Yeah.
It says in the MLS not to call because you're an agent.
That's why when they pick it up, they're like, oh.
Did you look at the private room?
Yeah, so anyway.
Read them and call me back.
Let's stick Jeff's price reduction,
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm not sure which one you're, the login, I don't have.
sign in.
Yeah, I don't have.
I do,
Oh.
yeah, sign in.
What is it? The JC back? I was telling you?
Let's see.
Hold on,
I was looking on the password sheet. It's not there.
Info at CBOC, it autofills.
Not on the password sheet for some reason.
Tab. I don't think it is. Do you know what it is?
No, because that's not the
Jackson knew it, yeah.
Jimmy's been gone for a long
It's
time.
not on that sheet.
It's not C.
No, I looked.
You should text Jenny.
I know that Jackson has it.
And I just always
Hold on,
think Jenny's.
we're gonna call Jackson. We're gonna get this. We need, that's how important this is.
I have it on my other computer.
Go get it, dude. We need this number. We need this. It's, can we share my?
Yeah. It might be on here, actually.
Whose computer's that?
This is the CBAC one, the work one.
Keychain.
I want to look, what we're looking at is you guys have, we need, not you guys, all of us, need to get better at understanding. At 500,000, this is how many people are gonna, if it's going to sell at this number, we need either 5 realtor calls, 10 saves, or just an offer. What's that?
She was talking to us. Elise?
Agent Hub, there you go.
Oh, wait,
And
are you talking to
we
me?
got it.
You're unmuted,
Oh,
Elise. Here, I'll share this screen. We got it coming in 1 second, guys.
Thank you. Sorry
Share.
for the delay.
Okay.
But the idea is that I think that most of us are not talking to the seller for 3 or 4 days after it's listed. I don't know that you're calling every time somebody talks to you. That is a have to have. You talk to someone, oh my God, I just got a call, exciting.
Yeah.
All right, I was hoping for 5, that's the first one. Hey, and it's just a text. It's just, what it is your over communication to that seller of what's going on in that game. So when she, let's go to 30 days. Can we see the 30-day view? This is let's stay with, yeah, okay, right. So this is what I wanted to get to. And that is, can you guys see it online?
Yeah, they can. That's what they said.
Okay. At 1.8, I'm expecting to get 100 to 200 views. Is this coming soon?
No,
Or is
this
this active?
this is straight to active.
Right, so first day on the market, meaning the first, which is day 0. Right, when you list it, the first little 24 hours, I'm expecting a lot of, because why you get more activity or you feel like the first day's better is why? Because on MLS, the realtors reach out to you, so you hear offers showing, so you're, because I don't know that every time day 1 are we looking. Right now, be honest, is there anybody that looks every day what the traffic is? Anyone?
Still.
On their traffic?
Yeah.
So what do you do with it?
I think I do a good job of talking about Zillow traffic and showings, but I don't think that I do to the level that you're talking about. I'm like, I got a phone call, Like, it's,
I'm just-
showing, hey, here's the traffic's good,
Hey.
saves are good.
Right, but the good news is when it's priced right, you don't have to. It's just, you have to know when their expectations are super high, that's the people that you have to do it more for.
I use your script of, if we're getting a lot of online traffic and no showings, we're priced 7 to 10% to it, not right away, but And then if we're getting showings and no offers, we're closer.
But
we're still not there.
that's what I want you here is I just want you to enumerate it, not a lot. What does a lot mean for this price range? Meaning if it's 500,000. 500,000, we know by day 3 whether it's overpriced or not, right? Like either we have 15 showings or like, but the thing is I know that the sellers don't know that. Because what I'm trying to get to you here is everybody's seen the house now. Here, by day 4, anyone that's considering it has seen it. So the price reduction should actually happen as this falls. Now, essentially, you're probably judging by views, meaning because the other thing I have here is double showings. So we have an agent on the team that you never see. His name is Eric Tuchin. He's been trying to buy a house. His wife got medical problems and the house that they're in, she's allergic to stuff. They got to move. But fortunately, he has enough money to really, anyways, buying a house for $3 million. And I said, stop going to the house right away if you like it, because we can't offer till day 7. If you want to negotiate price, typically you, depending, if it's overpriced, you can make a lower offer. But I mean, if it's priced right, anyway. But right here where I'm at is, this is the jab, 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 right hook. If you didn't tell them we're going to have a spike, meaning the trust that is built when you say, first day, we're looking at 100 to 180. The next day, I'm thinking we'll probably get over 250 to 400. And the next day in the range, these are just high bar and low bar. But then you're having that kind of conversation about the online. Because the problem is not any of this. If they don't believe those things, you need to know now. Of why, like they don't, this is my marketing. The point is that you're trying to show them data to support your price conversation. You know what I mean? This is it. It's Zillow activity reports and showings and open house traffic, right? Like maybe, because you probably have an open house here, right? Your expectation over here is that first open house, I'm thinking I'm looking for 7 to 10 couples. And I'm expecting one of them to come back for a second showing, meaning that to make your game better, the better you, this is one of the way I would talk to people in the listing appointments. Right? Like not at the listing is one thing. That's, I'm gonna win. We're gonna get top dollar. Because we just sold a house. How many days on the market? The one we just sold to Michelle.
That's sold with 2 days coming soon. Before we went active.
Right? You should be telling people we're mother effing great. We're selling houses in one of the toughest markets. Prices are going down and we're selling house. That's what should be your message in your listing appointments. I will list it at any price, but just so you know, we're selling them before coming soon. Like that should be you in the listing appointment. And I will know because we know we've studied traffic for 20 years. You got to tell them. We have 20 years of proof. This is what, because I do have it. We have it, right? Like this determines whether I knew when Adam told me we had 5 showings on 106, I was the seller. What was my first? This is on
25th.
So what was my, who's online? Who wants to get picked? I mean, who wants to go next? What was my feeling as a seller when Adam, because why I'm telling you this is because I was the seller. It's my house. Day 5, what were my expectations? What was my comments? Tell them. What did I say to you?
You said a few things. You were expecting, you mean that you wanted more communication?
Yeah, I was pissed off because how are we day 5? And this is the first time I heard from my agent. I was being critical of Adam, who's great at communicating. But I'm like, raise the bar here. Like, the thing is why wasn't I hearing about traffic and coming soon? Why didn't I get a Zillow report from you? Now, of course, I'm a pretentious son of a bitch. Okay, so I have high expectations of my agents and of my team because that's why we're the best. Okay, right? So he's great and he's going to get better, but I'm just like in recessions, right? You have to be aware of the price raw. Like, okay, so my first comment was I didn't receive enough. Like to me, I didn't hear coming soon how much traffic we had. I didn't hear how many people went to the open. I didn't get the open house traffic report, which I'm going to have to get to Jenny at, for 48 hours. That can't fucking happen. You for your sellers. If you have someone else sitting in the open house, you have to call them at 4:01 and tell them, like, I need that report. I need to know how many people came because you're calling the seller at 4:02 and be like, whoo, right? Hopefully you were calling during the open house and talking to that agent how many people came so you could tell the seller during it. That is the game. Yet you didn't think it was important to talk to the seller when we had an open house. I'm like, because we had 5 showings. Now, of course, I knew that wasn't enough to generate an offer. I was like, the seller's going to think the opposite. They're not going to know. They're okay if it doesn't get offers in the first 5 days. And I was like, we're overpriced. Son of a bitch, I mislisted the house. I'm supposed to be the expert. I didn't improve the house, right? Like I thought people would overlook it because of the yard, and they did not. Because the yard's so big.
The lot's massive.
It's pretty huge.
Yeah. I mean, it was all good. The second thing, what did I comment about other than the communication was not enough? Meaning, has anyone ever read CMA 1? Have you read CMA 2? What's the first document in CMA 2?
The one talking about how
Commitment to
great we are.
communicate.
Who said it? Eileen. Right answer. What is it?
Commitment to communicate.
You think I'm laughing? You think he's an asshole? No, this is what I did. I vowed to my sellers that I will over communicate to them. Why they pick me is I'm an over communicator. That is the number one reason people fire their realtor is lack of communication. So if you had any listings lost last year, then you know you didn't do this well.
That is the top complaint.
Top complaint. Number one reason why realtors get failed, they did not communicate. That's what this means. Why CMA 2 says that is because if you don't know what to say, just pull it out, put it on the table and read those back to me, Mr. Seller. We're the fucking best at this. Are you kidding? Number one, what does it say? Read it. I will. What does that mean? Is I'm going to give you this is before we're listed. If this is during the listing appointment, that's why I give you that thing because I want you to talk about your communication. Know that if you listed the house in the last 4 years, I've shifted to a much graceful, more optimistic style of selling. But as we head through the recession, people don't know what's going on. What are they doing? They're like, I'm not going to list my house. I just know that I have a cheap mortgage and I'm going to stay. But we have to first set the expectation, understand the stats. Let's look at it. Right? Yeah. So, okay. So did we have an open house?
Yes. We'll do it on this one.
How are you doing that?
We're on this,
Show me the MLS stats.
now that it's canceled.
No, 1795. 1795. Stick with the house.
Oh, I thought you were talking.
We have the
about-
Zillow stats.
Thought you were
No, we
talking-
have this. Yeah, we had the Zillow stats for this.
Thought you were talking about-
Show me the MLS reports, meaning we're gonna have to look at these more often, because you, as the real estate professional in the listing, have to understand the traffic. Doesn't that make sense? Like, it's logical, but it's, the reason we don't know is because we just didn't think it was important, although it's really, 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 really important to your seller. Okay, so let's look at that report. So how long has it been on the market?
Since the 13th, so 2 weeks.
Holy fuck, that's a long time. Yeah, that's, to me, because what happens is in communicating with sellers, there's really a group of about 30 to 100 people that buy the house. That's it. All of this is just people looking, people are looking 3 years out and 4 years out to move to a place. That's what they're looking at, or more than 90 days is most of this traffic. People that are actually looking is, that's what I'm trying to show you, is the people that come to the open house are the interested finalists to buy that house. Eric Dutton went to see the house at a listing, they went to the open house. Like when they like something, they like to go back to it. That's who we're gonna get the offer from. You're gonna now be able to see. That's why I'm talking about double showings, is who went out, because that's how I paid attention. That's why I see open houses 61% of the time is when I tracked the buyer traffic, is that buyer came through the open house at one point before we got that offer. Meaning this is the science of listing houses. This is understand this more. Now, the other thing is my initial comment was, and sorry, I might go over a little bit, you can leave if you want to, or we can stay, but this is good. And I got more people than last time, so I'm very excited.
Was the photos.
The photos, the seller, when I looked at the photos, I didn't like them. Right? And of course it was the what?
Post floor plan.
No, online. What was I thinking as the seller? Why wasn't the house selling?
Oh, you said because of the lot.
No, why wasn't it
You
selling?
weren't showing the best features of the home, basically.
Thank you. Jeff Dow came last week. When I looked on the internet, I didn't think my agent, me, did a good job. I'm being super critical about him, and he's a fucking spectacular listing agent. So don't take this. This is the nitty gritty of being great as a listing agent. And I'm trying to elevate his level so he can serve all of you, so he can always give you direction, so he's available to you. But what I didn't feel was conveyed well was, when you're the listing agent, you're in charge of the photos. Okay, meaning I'm in charge, I put it on, blah, blah, blah. But you have to know what, Jeff, if you are doing photos, what should be shown most important in the photos?
What should be shown?
Yes,
The best features of the home.
the selling features, great answer. Why people are gonna buy that house, okay? So we didn't do a good enough job, meaning we didn't have drone photos, because we got in the habit of just listing photos without drone. The number one, this is a cul-de-sac lot house with a huge backyard, right? Meaning I thought the traffic was less because the photos weren't showing, meaning the average person on TikTok watches a video for how long?
7 seconds.
Way too long.
3.
Less than 3. The average person on TikTok watches something for less than 3 seconds. When they're looking at your listing, they're looking at those photos for less than 3 seconds. And then you're on to the next one. So agents, though,
When I'm looking for clients, I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just why you put the
Or
photos
some very
first.
specific things as you're clicking.
right, so do we want the first screen photos to be the things about the ugly front of the fucking house?
No.
No, this house is atrocious from the street view. So I made the street view a
Terrible Google Maps photo.
A terrible Google Maps photo, which is better.
That
Okay, no.
photo made it look like it was an investor house. Honestly, if I saw that.
Okay, let's pull the
'Cause
traffic
it
on.
looks like there
Did you
was
still
no
see the
front
traffic
photo.
for that house online? Did it go down?
I don't mean to be.
No, here's.
But if I see that as an agent,
Yeah.
and if I'm just looking at main icons, I assume that they didn't pay for pro photos because it sucked in. some-
Okay, see, you're being critical because you know that it's bad. And that's fair. But as a guy moving from California, in that area, most of the lots are little, they're like, wait a minute, no, at worst, I established. I'd like to drive by that house because it's got a big lot and if I'm looking in the area on Saturday, I will just kind of cruise over there. If the door's open, I'm gonna go in, is where I'm at now. But the point is that we should know. So number one was lot. What was number two? No,
Bathroom.
no, yeah, okay. So on this house, for those that visited, we're now talking about 10625 listed at 760 originally. The number one was lot. What it is this is why we talk about functional obsolescence, is so that you understand what are the 1, 2, and 3 reasons why that house is going to sell. There was not like that picture of that listing doesn't show the size. So that's why I was being super critical. Now, all of you might have picked that photo, but I took a bedroom and added a master closet, and my fucking photographer didn't capture that, and why I want to fire her. Because that fucking's terrible that you can't understand. Because what does the photographer not know? What is the main reasons? Meaning that we should be, when we're talking to the photographer, I need more pictures of this number one, which is lot. But you as a listing agent know number 2 master bath photos. But it didn't capture how great the master bath is, twice as large of every master bath in that area. Is there going to be a buyer that's going to think that that's important? But how are they going to know? They're not going to know until they see the house. Because they don't know it exists, they don't come. And it's our fault as a listing agent, because I knew they were only going to look at 3 photos, and if it was good because it was redone, but it wasn't the game changer that I thought it was, because I was counting on someone going, because it's just logic. I've been in, around about 20,000 houses, right? Roughly about 10,000 with somebody, maybe 7,000 with somebody. But every time the woman's like, I can just look at her face when she walks in and out of the bathroom. I don't have to say anything, but I can look at her face and know if she's going to buy the house or not. It's easy, because if she comes out of it with a smile, it's good. If there's anything on her face other than that, when I'm in the house, watch your buyers. I don't know. You wrote an offer last night, Mauricio. When they walked through, what was their general what was their mood in the house?
Yeah, it was a husband and wife. He loved it. It was big. It had potential.
Yeah, and he's walking around like and she was like, she knew that he was gonna like it.
Yeah, no, they offered on 2 houses. The one that she liked that he didn't like, and the one that he liked that she didn't like.
I'm just saying that if you're not watching how your people
But I knew immediately she didn't like it. And she also.
let you know.
said it, yeah.
No, right, but the point is you have to understand in context when you're out showing houses to see this stuff, to know that I know that creating that lot with the master bath. Now the third thing is what?
The kitchen's white and bright.
The kitchen's next. Okay, but my target buyer, you understand that, is someone that wants a large lot and someone that wants a better master bath than they had before. Should be huge audience, in my opinion. We had 5 people through the open house. Why? I, as a seller, right? So if a seller thinks their house is great, it's why we have to convince them that the open house traffic matters. But they don't want to think it matters because they don't want the reality of it. open houses don't work. Because last time they listed it with open house and they had lots of traffic because they had realtor traffic through the house, not real traffic, because people don't market open houses. And now it's changed, meaning that 10 years ago, that we would do tours and shit to drive traffic to make it look like, right? Like, why does the luxury home tour do a tour through the houses to look like there's people, agents coming? It's a fucking scam. Luxury, as you get to 3 and 4 million, it's a little bit better because it's just, you know, I mean, we're making on an offer on a house today that what isn't listed. Because the seller heard that they wanted to sell the house. The luxury market works in different ways. But we're not talking about the 0.25% of sales in this meeting. We're talking about the 95%. So as a seller, I was worried about, because photos, what's another word for photos, Kevin Isaac?
Pictures?
As a realtor, photos, who's Randy
Marketing?
Vaccaro, what is my photos?
Marketing.
Marketing, sorry, Mauricio cheated.
Sorry,
Great job, Mauricio.
sorry.
No, but photos, unfortunately, is everything when it comes to your definition of marketing to them, because they can see it. They can't see the syndication to Zillow. Right? The photos is the only thing they can pick on, because it's the only thing they can see. Because they're not getting, because I'm like, because when he tells me the stats, I'm like, because I know the answer. When I get 5 people through the open house and we have the views, like I said, how many people showed it? He said 6 total in 6 days. I'm like, we got to reduce it by, I was thinking 10%. Because I'm selling houses in this marketplace, but I knew that if on day 4, when you see an agent sees a 10% drop, what does the world think? Fire sale. And I didn't want to do that, but I knew that was where I knew I was way overpriced, because if I was reasonably priced, I would have had 10 people through the open house and I would have had 8 showings. If I was priced exceptionally, we would have had 25 people through the open house. I would have had 18 showings and I would have had 4 offers. Why don't we communicate this more up front? So I'm just trying to get you to, if you want to get price reductions, and this is the jab, jab, jab. Because now you've had, let's call it 5 days of just you over communicating. Are they going to be mad at you? Not going to be mad at you, because now you can go like, oh man, oh, dude, I'm so shocked. I can't believe it. Thought we were priced well. This is the game, right? Like meeting, when you look back, you're like, what do we do now? Well, the photos clearly show the lot, the master bath, the kitchen. Oh, we're getting enough traffic. We've had 700 views and 20 saves by now. Like, that's actually good. The offer had 2 saves. We only need 2 saves to get an offer. You understand that 2 saves meant that was the buyer and another buyer. According to Russell Shaw, if 3 people see the house, it should sell. That was the old adage. If 3 people see the house, it should sell. That means it's priced well. Because think about it. You're working with buyers. If they walk into a house that's close to what they want, are they waiting now? They're offering. Houses are getting offers. Like the buyers now know, because fuck, that one we made as soon as you have one offer that you made, it's why you have to be over communicating to your sellers, because you're like, man, I know, like I just know what's going on out there. We listed one at 925. We just sold one for 4 million. That we sold it in the first week. Like we're like, I'm covering from 700,000 to 4 million. Like, we know the traffic stats. Stop ignoring how much knowledge we have and ask the people that probably have a better idea Adam of I, or even Phil, but that's why I show this stuff. Look at, that house had 9 saves. Recommended, that means 2 agents sent it to their clients. This is close. Now it's a 2-car garage. The bigger thing is no pool. No pool houses sell slower. That was the thing I know. Meaning in 2012 and 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, in normal markets, if I listed a house that was priced well and a house with a pool, the house priced without the pool would sell in like 57 days and the one with pool would sell in 15 days. I know for sure houses with pools sell faster. Of course, at lower price range is different and all this stuff, but, and then 5 people hit it. Okay, saved, 9 saves. So now I had 9 saves go to Zillow. What does Zillow said?
We can't see Zillow, but I have the numbers. It was 68 when we canceled it with 1,800 views.
Is that house overpriced?
Yes.
People are waiting for it to drop.
Right. I mean, I got, once I have more than 20 saves, I have what is called buyers waiting in the wings. But that's what you should be communicating. Man, when we get this much traffic and we get this many saves, they're waiting for a price drop. We've tried every technique in the book to get them to offer now, but unfortunately, this is when you get to explain all right, your house is priced at 760. They probably think it's worth 700. 10%. See how I'm establishing that? And if it's 760 and they think it's worth 700, they're gonna have to offer 640. Now, is anybody gonna offer 640 in the first 7 days for 760? No. I don't know why. That's human psychology, but the reality is because what happens is then they're column fodder. That listing agent tells everybody that they had an offer, they lie, right? And we can,
Yep, I know.
we do it, right? Like, I got an offer, you'd like tell everybody, right? Because we communicate whenever we get an offer, all traffic through the listing, through Adam, we communicate, you should too, in every listing, communicate to everybody. That's why we have showing time and we track people's names and numbers, because that's who we should be communicating when we drop price. Because you're looking for a buyer for the house, but I'm just trying to get into the semantics of, so, because when we go to 740, I still don't get an offer because they still think it's worth 700 because they're not understanding me. Clearly, we took out a bathroom, we did other things, but what it was is I didn't fix the floor plan. Has anyone heard me say floor plan's functional obsolescence before? Yeah, I'm like, I have functional obsolescence because of the pool, and I have a little bit of functional obsolescence because I have a 2-bath, not a 2.5 bath. That, you have to know that was a price limiter because now I have the no pool, I have the half bath, and I have the bad floor plan. So what it is when you have functional obsolescence, when you get functional obsolescence 1, 2, 3, because I said floor plan, I said bath, no pool, they compound the price lower. We might not understand that, but that's where I understood that. That's what I know and why I'm taking off the market, and I'm gonna fix the floor plan. I'm gonna put in stainless steel appliances, and then I'm also gonna put in
It's LVT.
LVT, fix the wall, gas. You've heard from me for times, you're like, Jeff, you're an idiot, right? Because we'll end this. Clearly, I'm an idiot because I know. Have you ever heard me say there's less traffic for electric? Right? Well, at this price range, right? At 500, no. At 700, yes. Right? Like those are the things that I'm trying to show you, and we just showed it because we're gonna fix these things. And now this house, because at 720, we still couldn't sell it. Why? If we think it's at 700, at 720, who hasn't answered yet? Russell, Dean, how are you, buddy?
You're still sharing.
I'm good. What's the question?
Why if it's worth 700 without the stuff, why are people after listed at 760, now at 720, if they originally thought they would pay 700, why are they not offering when it gets to 720? This is the psychology of buyers watching a house drop price. Why? Why are they not offering if they think it's worth 700? We have one buyer that came through that said, we're thinking about making an offer. Why are they not offering? Well, if I just wait. I went over there and there was no people there. Right, like, you know, when you go to a house and there's nobody versus the house that you go to and there's 3 people and you're like, okay, the one with 3 people, you're like, oh man, we're gonna have to offer. You're probably just standing still, but in your mind, you're starting to realize, fuck, we gotta make this offer, we gotta make this offer, we gotta make this offer. But when you go over and your buyer's there for an hour and a half and no one's coming, you know how many times I did that? I don't know, about 500. And in my mind, I'm like, oh man, nobody's interested in this house but you, but that's okay. Finally, you like one. In there for an hour and a half, you're circling, but they just don't know what they should offer.
So here's the question. So you're gonna put what? At 20, 10, 20, like what if
25.
cool. So you're at 720 now. And you're gonna put 25 into it. Where are you gonna?
I think we're gonna sell it for 750. We're
So
gonna list
you're
it
gonna
at
raise
750.
price.
Yeah, we're raising price for sure.
And would you tell a seller to do that today?
Absolutely. Yeah, well, because I'm fixing 3 things. In my mind, adding the gas adds 15,000. Adding the stainless steel appliances adds 15,000. And removing the floor plan adds 40,000. So that's 70,000. I'm only pricing it 50 higher because I want it to sell for over asking price. You're just looking at demand. I know, because really, if it has stainless steel appliances, there's this more demand. If it has gas, it's this much more demand. If it has an open floor plan and it has stainless steel appliances and it has gas and it's that lot and the motherfucking master bathroom is twice as large as anyone within 4 miles. That's called special good. No matter where they try and buy, they're not gonna get that. That's the biggest master bath under 3,200 square feet within 4 miles. Right, that's gonna be picture number 1, is because it should have been taken from inside the closet because it should have been standing back there. So you see the wall, so you get a feel of how big that bathroom is. And then there should have been one looking back so that unequivocally, people are just coming to check out the master bath. Right, like special good means that people should. I'll end with this. Sorry, I knew I went to end with that, but I walked into a house one time out in Fountain Hills that had a house, no pool, on a lot in a dip, meaning it wasn't a high lot, it was a low lot. And I went into her den, and she had installed oak wood floors that she imported from Ohio that were marked 1888 in the den. And they had 2 in the master, they had the same wood, this gorgeous wood at a $700,000 house, or no, it was a 525 it was. But I mean, that was special good because someone's gonna, and the house sold for 50,000 more than I thought it was gonna, because of that feature. Because then it becomes more like art. I can buy this house and get that because my wife really wants that house because she's never seen that before. Versus the standard house over there, right? Like we're gonna go for the one with the spa. We're gonna go with the bigger master bath. We're gonna go with the RV garage in a non-RV neighborhood. Meaning those are the things that, because then there's a buyer like, because you're weighing choices as a buyer, right? You're like, questions. I'm open. You can text me. I have more free time. If you got questions, following up when you get home. I love you guys. Happy Thursday.
Or are you gonna?
You know, I will say one thing that is super helpful is taking notes helps so much. That's one thing I picked up from you during these
Thank you.
classes.
In what way, Jeff?
Just because it firms ideas down. I'll have the idea and I'll feel like I'll have to hear it like 20 times to get the idea. But if I take the notes, I feel like I can get the idea, maybe hearing it after 3 times because I can look back at the notes and it's just written down.
If you're doing it at the brown nose, I love you. Thank you. Great comments. Thanks, Jeff. Write down more notes. Remember what you need to do. Thank you.